Okay, we can start now. Please, if you are with me, you can just drop a hi on chat. Let me be sure that we are together. Okay, Mr. David, you ready?
All right. Yes, ready.
Okay, Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo.
Yes, I'm with you. We're good to go.
Okay, we can start. We have a good number. At least we have a good number for now. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, let me say compliments of the day in case you are not with us here in this part of the world. It's okay. I'm very happy to host all of us here on this maiden training on the basic fire safety. Actually, it's a free training. My name is Ubong Edits. My name is Ubong Edits. I'm the CEO of HAC Watch Universal Services Limited. And the HAC Watch platform is just a subset of it. HACWatch.com is an online platform, and with the WhatsApp group that we are running. The sole aim of the platform is to bring HAC professionals together so that we can learn together and also network. One challenge we're really having in this period is information. Information tends to be scarce, and not just scarce, the right information tends to be scarce. So that is the gap HAC Watch is trying to bridge, bring people in, keep them together, and share correct information, not just any information, but correct information. And it's also a platform to learn and network. We cannot do without networking. So this training is just one of the training, several trainings that will be hosted by HAC Watch. Though not all will be 100% free, but this is one of the very important safety training that all of us will benefit from. And when we talk about fire safety, it's something that everyone experience one time or the other. So we need to get ourselves equipped so that we know how to respond either in the industrial setting or in domestic setting, some in private practices. So that is why we need to understand the basics just for the basics, what to do, how to go about it, and how to move on. I wouldn't want to waste much time. So what I want you to understand is this meeting is hosted by HAC Watch in session with one of our very good professional, Mr. Taiwo, which will be the major spokesperson. And with me also is Mr. David, who will also join in anchoring the training. So just stay put. Definitely, we're going to learn something new today. So but before we go on to the training proper, I'm going to call on Mr. David to take us on a very short safety moment. So, Mr. David. Mr. David. Mr. David, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I can hear you loud and clear, Mr.
Okay. So over to you on the brief safety moment before we go to the training proper.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be in your midst today, and you've heard it all from the CEO, Mr. Ubong. Our initiative is for continuous learning, and I think this platform, the maiden platform, will show more light, and as more will come. All right, safety moments. As we all know, when you hear the word fire, a lot comes to our mind. So what is fire? Fire is a rapid oxidation of material in an exothermic chemical process of combustion, releasing heat, light, and various reactions of products. So, but globally, fire is in the 27th place on 30 list of causes of deaths. And on the other hand, between 2017 to date, several death rates has been accounted for due to fire, and it is morally unacceptable. Ivory Coast has the highest rate of fire deaths per year at 14.53% for every 100,000 people that die. Angola and Sierra Leone takes the next chart for the worst fire in 86 deaths per 100,000 respectively. The US was ranked 136 and is still falling between 134 to 137th place among 183 countries. Fire incident at 0.73 per 100,000 that dies. Same with the UK at 168 with a rate of 0.32% per 100,000 that dies. But our dear beloved country, Nigeria, doesn't keep HSC statistics nor incident rates or whatever that occurs. In the World Chart rankings, report sent from Bureau of Statistics Fire Service states that Nigeria is ranked 17th position at a death rate of 6.83% for every 100,000 that dies. This in turn tells us that a lot is happening in our country and will continue to happen if certain orientations are not put in place. And as it stands, you and I know that the statistics stated is more than that, as every day death rate occurs continuously. So, as a safety, as HSC Watch as a safety advocate is trying to, will be emphasizing on learning safety, learning consciously in our various homes, try to be safety conscious with our environment, ensure that you check out for the toddlers because they are the ones that are the most vulnerable. Check out for electrical gadgets, ensure they are switched off, change defective cords, monitor your gas cylinders for leakage and other defects. Make sure you don't leave your containers, aerosol cans and containers containing fuels and other substances. And same goes to your workplace. Learn to switch off all that is required. With this and many more, we could be able to manage the incidents or the outcome that may come from fire situations as low as reasonable practicable. So in essence, I would like to encourage us to take advantage of this brief training that will be elaborated and discussed by Mr. Taiwo. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your training. Mr. Ubang, over to you, please.
It's okay. Thank you very much for that brief safety moment. And I believe at the end of this training, you will be glad that you joined. And at the end of this training, also there will be opportunity for you to ask questions. So when we get to that moment, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions. So now, without wasting much time, I'm going to hand over straight to the keynote speaker today, that is Mr. Taiwo, to go on with the training. So I'm going to put Mr. Taiwo on to start up. Mr. Taiwo.
Yeah, Starboy, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
So,
Mr. David, thank you so much for the statistics. You've actually said what is meant to be said so far. So it's like we should just close the class and start going on. Okay. It's simple. It's very simple. I will be sharing my slide now, but I would also like to establish a fact here. Okay, are we together? Are we still together? Can we see my screen? Okay, so I want to establish a part here. This is what is getting wrong in people lately. When they hear fire safety training, all their mindset is they want to know how to fight fire. How can we start jump into a big fire and start fighting them? This is wrong. What we just want to establish here is just what we need to do, what we need to put in place for fire not to occur, for fire not to come up. That is what we just want to look into. I don't know if I'm communicating. That is the benchmark here. That is just what we want to look into. So not wasting much of our time, we have what we call fire safety, and I have some course outlines or like what we need to do at the based on our discussion so far. We will look into what introduction to fire safety, which Mr. David has already said. We will look at what fire. We look into what we mean by fire triangle, causes and effects of fire, classifications of fire. Yes, I would like to also state roles of a fire marshal or a warden, because we take to misquote these things very well. Fire prevention plan. What is the plan on ground? We time also look into fire safety assessment, the risk assessment. We look into fire, how to respond, emergency. We look at type of extinguishers we have. How do we extinguish fire, the techniques, how to use a fire extinguishers. Then we look at the rules of fighting fires and we close for the day. So let's start. I said it is important for us to have a basic understanding about fire occur, behave, or because behave in a building. It is very important that we need to have just the basic idea what fire is all about. I also say is that it is a responsibility, or it is going to be nice for a company or an individual to have someone just to be in charge, monitoring, to be the person or called fire person. Yeah, fireman and just like that. Okay, this is and it is not a legal action. It is now put into laws that companies should have fire prevention plan. A part of your fire prevention plan, you must have somebody we call fire marshal or fire warden, just to make sure these things are in place. And it's also into law that companies and people needs to be trained on basic on how to fight fire. Okay, and this is also important because properties and lives needs to be saved. Okay, as Mr. Davis has said, telling us statistics of fire all over the world. This is destroying properties and the rest like that. I want to know if I'm communicating. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's go into it. It's simple. I will make it very simple. Fire is what we call a rapid chemical reaction. What are we discussing here?
Sorry, can I interrupt? Please, you'll be checking for people that are coming in case you need to accept people in. Okay, please.
Wow. Mr. Dave.
Okay, no problem. Continue.
A host, because I'm using a phone, not a laptop.
Okay, no problem. Continue.
All right, thank you. I hope the fact is being established. As I was saying, it's said to be, or the basic understanding about fire is just a chemical reaction. That is what we need just to know. It's a reaction that needs to occur. And what will make fire occur? Three things must be present, as Mr. David said earlier: oxygen, heat, and fuel. These three things needs to be occur. If any of these things are missing, there is no fire. What do I mean by oxygen? This is our normal air we breathe in and we breathe out. If you could remember in the village, when people want to cook, when they are using what's it called, woods together or charcoal, either we look for an hand fan or something to start blowing air into the wood. What are they doing? They are introducing air so that fire can come up. Heat, this is what we refer to be at an ignition point. This is where it gets to a point, the heat level cannot condone himself. He has to burst out. That's why it's going to result into fire. And fuel, we are not referring to kerosene. We are not referring to what's it called, petrol or diesels. This is what can burn as in case of fire. Anything that can burn, human being can burn, We've seen where they say somebody burned to ashes. Your wood around you, your buildings, your computers, your appliances, anything that can burn is referred to be fuel. So we consider the triangle is also what we call fire triangle. What does this say? It's telling us that before fire can just occur, these three things needs to be present. It needs to be acceptable. So that is why we have it as fire triangles. We have the heat, which is reach ignition temperature, or right. We have fire, as I've said, anything, any materials that can burn, or I said to feed the fire, something that can make sure like fire needs to keep eating, okay? And oxygen to sustain or to we put in air. Okay. Hope I'm communicating.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
All right, so let's look at the causes and effects of fire. What do I mean? What causes fire? And what is the effect? Causes of fire. Number one, I put in here, I said ignorance and negligence. Up to today, if you keep advising or telling people, overstacking your socket will cause fire, they said, since when were you born that we've been using these things? These are what they don't know, that this thing can cause fire. Is a sign of ignorance. You can advise somebody that if you use this thing, it can cause fire. The next thing is, no, you are not born, I've been using it. Negligence is not my father's properties. If you like, make it burn. If you like, make it destroy. These are things that cause fire. Nature, yes, natural. Like the likes of a volcano. The thunder can strike today and hit one fuel before you know, fire starts come up. So nature, and we also said arson. Arson, this is a deliberate act. This is, let me not go there. Major fire statistics in this part of our country, Nigeria, are caused by arson. Probably I read a story or a news of recent that an EFCC was investigating a company based on misfund of money or so like that. The next thing, the company got fired. They decided to put down those documents so that they cannot be traceable and the rest like that. So this is just a deliberate act. Because if you move into some companies or into some organization, they will tell you, do not smoke in this area. We have designation area. So people will say, well, and they start doing that, which it's just deliberate. These things I must do. Another thing can cause this fire, our electrical issues. When we talk about electrical issues, these are like our products, as Mr. Dave said earlier. You want to buy appliances, probably you want to buy a wire to run your lights or electricity in the house. The next, instead of you to consult a specialist or a professional on it that will advise you the types of wire that can use for specific appliances. But because you have one boy at one corner that you can quickly bribe for 10 naira or 20 naira to quickly contact, is it not just to bring lights? Before you know, our normal NEPA bring in lights that cannot be acceptable to that appliances. Before you know, it goes into flame. So these are things we need to change. Overloading, as I've said, overloading over electrical appliances. Our voltage, the difference of the voltage from our normal NEPA can also cause fire. As I said, 40 wires, I've explained this earlier, our extension cords. Yes, this is important, and it happened of recent that we have scarcity of fuel in the country. Storage of this fuel, storage of our petrol, storage of our diesel, because you want to store them and sell it on high prices. So we keep it somewhere. At the end of the day, we might have forgotten that, oh, I kept this thing somewhere and it can ignite fire. Okay? Hot works, these are people who do anything with electricity that can easily result into fire. Looking at, we have a lot of causes, a lot of numerous of causes, using of gas cylinder, leakage of cylinders, as I've been said. These are just what can cause fire. So if fire occur, what is now the effect on people? What is the effect? First, life can go for it. People can die. Properties, believe me, properties will be damaged. It is very true. Some properties will damage. Environment, it will affect the environment. Smokes, you find people running for their life because they want to breathe well. Reputations. What about the today your company born, tomorrow is born, now only you people cannot be safe again in going to some area because of who knows, maybe fire will not occur when I'm dead. So it puts your reputation at risk. Sanction. The law is going to sanction you. You should have put appropriate plan, appropriate prevention in place for fire not to occur. So the law is there to sanction you that why is fire going. So you have to pay each amount of money. Compensation, you have to pay compensation money to people. Oh, sorry, your materials is damaged. Oh, if eventually at the cause of the outbreak of fire, somebody is trapped in and he lost the family sued the company into court, you have to pay each money for compensation. These are the effects. So let's move on. We move into classes of fire. I'm allowed to say this. We have, if you go online, you will see different classes. It's just simple. They just classify these fires for us to remember them with letters and also for us to know the kind of fire that is burning. Am I clear? Are we still there?
Yes, we are there. Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo.
I'm with you, sir.
Okay, please let me just check if I have people in the waiting room.
Okay.
Okay, give me 5 seconds.
All right.
Okay, continue the training. Let me see if you can run like that.
All right. So as I said, classification of fires, you can see some people will come up and tell you have A to D and F. Some people say A to E. Some people say A to C and the rest like that. But what I just want to establish here is that classification of fire is just for us to know the type of fire that is burning or that is occurring. I don't know if that's well understood. Okay.
Yes, so we are with you.
So, all right. So let me go on from this my slide here. Please do not switch to cut. As I said earlier, you can move another people or another training can tell you have different class of fires. But as I've said, and now let me establish that fact again, that this classification or these letters is just for us to have a recurrence, like a quick remembrance of, oh, this is the type of fire that is burning. So on this my slide, I just have 5 types of fire. I said no, 1, class A. This is anything that can burn, that has the combustible. So that is to say, examples of this class A are wood, a paper, clothes, your chair, your bed, what else again? Class A is said like cartons, any wood, these are class A fire. Class B is said to be flammable liquids and gases. Flammable liquid and gases. So what are the flammable liquids? The normal petrol at the filling stations, your normal kerosene can classify as that. The diesel, your normal gas we use to cook at home, and also like propane, gasoline. These are so class B is said to be flammable liquid and gases. Class C, in some people, this class C, in some people they will say it's class F, which stands for, or class E, they will say it stands for electrical appliance or electrical equipment. That is fire resulting from electricity. So at this my slide, I would like to stick by saying class C from live electrical equipment. Like that is to say, like our computers, our machines, our laptops, and the rest of that. Then class D, it says to be from fire result from metals. Metals, the likes of our magnesium, lithium, and the rest like that. So if a metal is burning, we have the mindset that this type of fire is class D. Then the last I have on my slide says K. Class K stands for cooking medias. This is our oil we use in cooking. You know, if you want to cook soup now, yes, let me use that word. We want our oil, like our palm oil, or if you want to fry, we want it to get to a level to get heat heated to a level before we can put in any other materials. So it will get to a point when it gets heated to a level and it cannot contain itself, it can turn, it can go into fire. Okay, so at this point, and these are the classes of fire we have. So we move on. Are we still together?
Yes, so.
Okay, so after we've seen that, the next thing I want us to go home with is this. What are the roles and responsibility of a fire warden or fire marshal? It's simple. Let's remove this fact. Let's remove this mentality by saying a fire warden or a fire marshal is to fight fire. No, they are not firefighters. Firefighters, their job is far different from fire marshal. Okay, so what are their roles of these people? It's simple. In the case of fire emergency, they are there to evacuate, in assisting evacuation, that is to assist people to evacuate the building. If there is an alarm that rang, it is their duty to run to everyone. Please, can we all leave the building? There is fire. They are not, it's not their job like by them and said, okay, let me approach where the fire is and fight it. No, that is one. Their job is to check, to do regular check of any fire appliances of equipment. What do I mean? Is the fire alarm system in place? Is it working? Fire extinguisher, is it intact? Is it updated? Exit routes or emergency routes, are they not blocked? Are they locked? Are they open? Are they to be easily accessed? What about the fire signages? Can we see them clearly? This is their routine. They keep checking, not their job is not for them to go run back into a building and rescue somebody who is trapped in the building. No, their own is to put these things into place. As I've said, the first one, they try and assist in evacuation and do a regular checkup of their fire system. The next thing, these are people that need to liaise with the fire and rescue services. They have a good relationship. They need to, in case of fire emergency, they need to start contacting them. And also, these people need to know, am I still communicating?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, I hope I don't have issue with my network.
It's checking now, but at least I can still hear.
Network. Okay. Is it clear now?
It's better. It's better.
Okay, thank you for that.
You cannot see it. Unless it's partial.
Am I clear enough now?
Yeah,
Yes. Cannot, and
Alright,
you will not. I swear in my life, you will not. If he says I don't, if I not fit talk anything I want to talk for them, I'll just walk out, come out. Now wait for what will happen.
Who is online? Talk again.
Please continue.
All right. Okay. As I've said, they liaise with the fire and the rescue service people. And the next thing is they promote fire safety within the company. That is to say, they keep introducing and communicating the fire procedures they have in every company. They keep telling them, this is our procedure. Every visitor or all the staffs, their job is to conduct drills, depending on what's it called? The agreement or the procedure of the company. Is it want to be done every 3 weeks, every once in 3 months? Is it want to be done twice in a year? I think the law says a drill must be conducted twice in a year. Why are we doing this drill? We are communicating the procedure. We want to test our procedure also if it's working, if everybody. So this is the job of these people, so that they will not have excuse in tomorrow in case fire work open. And also, after doing that, it is their duty and their roles to take attendance or do roll call. They do roll call while everybody has been evacuated from the building. Okay, so let me move on because of time. What is the prevention? How do we prevent fire? It's so simple. Make aware of the company fire procedures to everybody. Let them understand your procedure. What kind of procedure are you using? Are you using a bell in times of fire? Or do we shout, fire, fire, that people can know if fire occur? Or is there an alarm system in place that will tell you this is what this, you communicate Once the procedure is being communicated to everyone, everybody will know. After that, we use updated equipment. As I've said earlier, electrical equipment, updated. We need things. You must be updated in everything you are using. You must use an adequate equipment for everything you want to use. Okay? They must be in line. They must be verified. Okay, this thing is okay to go for. Majorly, if people want to carry out what's it called, hot work on site or within your vicinity, check their equipment if it's well enough. Not that they will join one wire in one place and said, okay, let's quickly do what we want to do and leave. The next thing, we do proper housekeeping. Good housekeeping is very important. Put our house in place. We remove waste regularly. Combustion of waste or stacking of waste in a place can generate heat. One heat is generated and there is fuel. Oxygen comes in. Before we know, you're catching fire. I don't know for us that are here in Lagos, if you pass through Ojota where they dump those rescues, you will always see smoke in those areas. Why are we seeing smoke? Is as a result of stacking of this waste together. Before you know, it will generate it as a result of microorganisms also. Then air is being introduced and fire kicked up. We keep our extinguishers in a safe place and a visible place. That's the prevention. If you check the slide, see somewhere somebody is putting a cloth and a cap on an extinguisher as it is blocked already. This thing needs to be plain. People need to see it. Okay, this is where the extinguisher is. Okay. As I said, we communicate the procedure to staffs, to visitors, to contractors, everybody. If this is first time of people going into or coming to your company or coming to your house, let them understand in case there is fire, this is what we need to do. And the last but not the least, I said training and retraining. We keep training and we keep training. Okay. How do we consult or conduct a fire risk assessment? It's so simple. The very first thing we need to do, we identify the fire hazard. And I said hazard is anything that has the potential to cause harm. Once that is identified, what are the hazards in place? Then the next thing we look at people at risk. We identify people at risk. We now put in control measures. We put in control measures. What kind of control measures do you want to put in? Depending on the hierarchy of control, elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative, PPE. We start consider that. We also also going to put in, okay, the next thing, we record, we plan, we inform, we instruct, and we still train. We put everything into record. Okay, and the last but not the least, we review everything we need to do. We need to review our plans. Okay, somebody has come to carry out, I don't know why I'm using hot work, for those that work on construction place, has come to do a hot work in your company. These are things you need to put into consideration. You need to identify the fire hazard. You need to make sure who has bricks. You control you put in the control measures, then you record and we review. Okay, let's move. What is the plan? How do we respond to emergency? It's so simple. Race. I put in an acronym says race. Run for your life. In case fire has occurred, please and please don't say I want to be Van Damme, I want to go and fight fire. No. Race. What is race? RDS stands for rescue anyone along your way. Rescue. Inform anyone. Can we move away from this building? The next thing, we shout, we alert. How do we alert? Which kind of techniques are you using? Which kind of techniques is your company using? Is it fire alarm? Is it the one that those pastors use while preaching on the road? That bell saying bang bang bang, fire has occurred. Everybody leave. We alert everyone. Then we contain. What do I mean by contain here? As soon as you're going out, every door at your back needs to be closed. Why are you doing that? You are preventing fire and to also contain the fire, that the fire will not spread as fast or as quick as possible. Then the last but not the least in my race is extinguish or evacuate. What do I mean by extinguish? Do I know how to use a fire extinguisher? If it's a small fire, let me quickly see. But if I cannot, let me run for my life. You evacuate the building. That is just the simple thing you need to do when fire has occurred. That's how you can respond to fire. Once again, do not forget, you rescue anyone along your way, there should be an alert system. An alert system needs to be in place. Police calling now. You need to put, is it an alert? How do we shout? Fire, everybody. We close all doors and windows, then we. Okay, this is another way of response. You see this kind of sign. This is a procedure. This is one of the procedure in times of fire. One of them says, operate the nearest alarm system point with you. Did you understand? The procedure is saying, in case you sight a fire or you notice the fire, instead of you to shout, operate. But some people said, shout. Okay. The next thing, another procedure says, call the fire brigade or the fire rescue immediately, or call the emergency line. What's the emergency line? 767 or 112. Call them. Another procedure says, leave the building by the nearest exit. Don't say the exit you want to use is at point C and you're at point A and there's an exit closer to you. Use that. Another one which says, do not use the lift and the rest like that. This is a procedure from, so every company has their own procedure. Every company, like if you check to my right now, another one says, sound the alarm or shout for fire. Call the emergency line. Attack the fire if you can. Are you trained to attack the fire? Okay. He also said if you cannot, leave the building by the nearest available, then proceed to the muster point. Okay. There is a procedure that they will say you do not go back and pick up your. So what are the types of fire extinguishers we have? If you check the slide, these are the types of fire extinguishers we have. We have the hose, we have the fireball, MNN or MHAs or so. We have the fire extinguishers. You can see these fire buckets always seen at the filling station. If I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong, you always see it. But majority of like, what are they using this thing to do? It's simple. It's part of their prevention and also to contain the spread of fire. Okay, these are the types of extinguishers, fire extinguishers we have. So what is the techniques? What are the techniques? Now, to just understand this, okay, if you want to fight a fire or you want to quench a fire, you must understand these three things that makes up the fire, which are air, oxygen, and heat. So to do this, one of them, if you remove any of them, fire is off. So number one says cooling. What did I want to cool? I want to cool the heat. The other one says smothering. What am I smothering? What am I suffocating? Suffocate the air from the fire. And we have what we call starving. Starving, like removing the fire, the fuel from the fire. Like when you decided to starve somebody, that means you don't want to give the person food. The same thing, you are starving the fire. So how do we starve the fire? By removing the fuel. We suffocate or we smoothen the oxygen. We cool the heat and we remove the fuel by starving. Okay, so these are the process. Cooling, you can use water. Smoothing, the types of extinguishers like foam, CO2, wet chemical, fire blankets. Then starving, majorly where we use starving from, this is when there is an electrical fire. So how do we start from electrical fire? By offing the source. As soon as the source is off, the fire has been smoothed, then it now becomes class A fire, where the materials will now be burning. Hope I'm still communicating.
Yes.
Okay. So looking at this diagram on the slide, we have these types of extinguishers. So we need to understand the type of extinguishers. We have the water type, we have the foam type, we have the dry powder, we have the CO2 and the wet chemical. This type of extinguishers has the type of classes of fire it can fight. Like the water, it can only fight the class A. Your foam can go for class A and class B. As I've said earlier, I have a diagram of extinguishers where we need to, like, anatomy of extinguishers. Okay, you still have your dry powder, you have your CO2. Your dry powder sometimes is said to be a universal extinguisher where you can use for every other type of fire except class K, or some people say class C or class F. That's the cooking fire, the oil. While is that not applicable, is that by the time you spray the extinguisher on it, it splashes. Before you know, it is oil and it's a liquid content or a liquid way, it can transfer or jump to another place and start burning extra. Your CO2, as it has been said, we can use it on petrol, that's class B, and we can use it on electrical equipment, which can be classified as your class C. Some people will classify as class E. Okay. Your wet chemical can be used on class A and also on class K, which is our, what's it called? Our frying, like our oil and the rest of it. So this is a bit of like an anatomy of how a fire extinguishers look like. Can we all see the anatomy? It's just trying to, and I want to believe, if not all, 80% or 90% of what I've seen how an extinguishers look like. So except CO2 that doesn't have a gauge, I think other extinguishers have a gauge. If you check, let me see. All right, okay. I don't have a pen. I can indicate, like when we have the pressure gauge rather. This is just to check or to tell us if the extinguishers is in good condition before you use. These are the job of, as I've said, a fire marshal, a fire warden to use. So as you can see, we have the handle where you need to carry. We have the discharge level, which is the top part you press. We have the hose. We have a pin there. Now, where is called data plate. This is where every extinguisher will have a label. It will tell you the type of extinguisher it is. Is it class A, class B, class C? And it's going to come in. The label must have an expiring date and the date issues or date serviced. The label will tell you the contents of what is inside. So that's why it's called data plate. That is where you can recognize, oh, this type of extinguisher, this is a class A. It will surely be written. It will surely be written, okay? And we have the discharge nodules. We can see the body of itself and where the discharge orifice, where the contents of the extinguishers needs to come out from. Hope we are getting it.
Yes, sir, we are with you.
Yeah, with you.
Mr. Umba, Mr. David, you are the only one talking.
We've muted other people.
Hope we are seeing reactions
I'm with
on the group or back comments. What happened now? Okay. Can I write on?
You're free, you're free.
All right. Okay. So the next thing I would like us to use, how do we use an extinguisher? It's simple. PASS is an acronym we should remember or we are familiar with. PASS. You know, when you attend a polytechnic, or they'll tell you their degrees are PASS, lower, and the rest like that. So PASS is an acronym, PASS. Okay. It's just an acronym for us to remember how to use an extinguisher. So what do I mean by PASS? The P stands for pin. Look at the screen, you see this man pulling out the pin. But before you use or you start to use an extinguisher, make sure you check the gauge. Is it in good condition? If it's not in good condition, the first thing, you pull out the pin. Why am I pulling out the pin and why are they putting the pin? The job of the pin in the extinguisher is to, one, prevent this unintentional discharge of the contents. So that by the time you press the discharge note handle, while the pin is on, it will restrict you. It won't go down. Just to make sure. So if you want to use it, you have to remove You have to discharge the pin so that you can focus. So the next thing is you aim. You actually aim the base of the fire. Please and please, we can only use fire extinguishers on a small fire, as I've said. Okay? All right, so you aim at the base of fire. After aiming at the base of fire, you squeeze the nozzle. As you can see from this picture, you squeeze the handle or the nozzle of the extinguishers. Then we sweep from left to right or right to left. So why are we sweeping? It's so important, just to make sure that then none of the fire escape. Okay, we want to make sure none of the fire escape. So we have to sweep. After aiming the base of the fire, we sweep from left to right. Okay, that is how we can use a fire extinguisher. It's so simple, very, very simple. Fast, as I've said, you pull the pin, you aim the aims of the fire, you squeeze the handle, and you sweep. I don't know if I'm being fast or being slow, but let me ride on.
Continue,
Okay,
right on.
so what are the considerations? What are the considerations we need to put in place in order to fight the fire? Actually, I'm in the school of thought that don't fight if you can't. Okay, but our priority should make sure fire should not occur. That should be the responsibility. We don't want it to occur so that we'll not be having dreams of fighting. So let's put this into consideration. One, if you want to fight the fire, if you don't have an adequate and appropriate equipment, do not attempt to fight the fire. Do not. If you check the fire extinguisher gauge and you see is not is not okay, or you try to discharge and it's not coming out, please run for your life. You must not fight a fire. Let me use a must if there is enough smoke or toxic substances as a result from the smoke. Because at the end of the day, if you want to go fight that fire, you might get suffocated. And I won't be surprised when the fire itself will carry you outside when you collapse in the building. Okay, so please, when there is available of toxic substances like smoke or you are perceiving smells that are not favorable, that can cause you an health challenges, please run for your life. Another thing I would like to tell us, if your instincts tell you, please do not fight this fire. Please do not, if you are not comfortable with the situation of, for any reason, just let the fire department do their job. Now, another way, if the fire is spreading rapidly, it's coming up rapidly, please, you are not advised. Let the firemen or the firefighters come do the job. Okay, so as I've said also, if the fire appears to be large enough to handle with an extinguishers, if the fire is big that one extinguisher cannot handle, please evacuate. Do not, and also if you don't need to fight the fire if your escape route is not clear. Always look behind you. Am I free to run? Am I free? Is it free? You shouldn't be in an enclosed place. Let's assume the fire is starting from the door, and that's the only entrance and the exit, and you are inside the building, and you said you want to fight it. You are deceiving ourselves. So we need to make sure because at the point as the fire is going, fire can jump. If there is a presence of toxics like cylinders and which can easily explode, and you put yourself at risk. Okay, and I also said the final rules here. Always position, which I've tried to explain, position yourself on the exit. Okay, means of escape or the means of escape. Make sure, what is this trying to say on the nutshell? Make sure your back is free for exit. Do not be in an enclosed place to say, I want to fire, irrespective of the leverage. Should I use leverage? Or the level of the fire, either small or big. Please make sure your back is always free to escape. And I say, In a case the fire, as I think I've explained this and I'll need to repeat it again, it's very important. Very, very important. As I've said, fire safety is just for you to make sure fire does not occur. That is what we are trying to preach here. So for this not to occur, you must put an appropriate things in place. Okay. So I also said, and I try to repeat, in case the fire, the extinguisher is malfunctioning, is not in good position, and there is a fire, do not do it. So it is not the job of this person called fire marshal or safety person on ground to make sure these things are updated, to make sure they are in good conditions. Okay, and try as much as possible. Do not be trapped. Do not be trapped. So at this level, I would say thank you.
Okay, Mr. Taiwo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you did a great job. You did a great job. I appreciate you. You did great. You did great. I appreciate you. So now, please, do anyone have a question? Do anyone have a question, please? If you have a question, you can just draw in the chat box. Then I will unmute you to ask. Do anyone have a question?
If you have questions, please drop in the chat box.
Then you'll be unmuted to ask before we go on. Still waiting? Okay. Mr. Patience, thanks for the appreciation. Okay, we have a question here. Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo.
Hello, sir. I'm with you.
Okay, there is a question here. The question goes like this. What is the agreed universal classification of fire? Because I remember you talked about using the A, B, C, and K structure. Which one are we really using? Is there the one classification practice that is being universally accepted, either in British platform or a US platform? Which one are we actually using? That's the question. Did you get it right?
Okay, yes, I get it right.
Okay. So
to be
either ASEAN, please, you listen.
To be frank and be sincere, we have been having issues on this to adopt the universal one. If you go to should I use the word UK or America, they said this is what they use. Okay, but this is what I can advise. What you just need to do is to familiarize yourself with the classes of fire, the types. Okay, so I can only advise here that let's use the one I have on my slide that says A to C and K, which A stands for any combustible materials, B stands for flammable gases and liquid, C for electrical appliances, D for metals, magnesium and the rest, then K for what's it called? You can say kitchen fire, like our fat,
Oils.
our oil at home. Okay.
Okay.
But let me recap again. Once again, we are still finding it difficult to accept or to have the standard. The standard is yet to be agreed on. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I believe that was really taken care of. To add to that, when we talk about classification, you know, some areas we have different regulatory bodies. So most times it's always advised when you are setting up a structure, as you said, it's not really about what they call it. It's about knowing how to implement those things to understand what you're actually doing. Either you are using it in the industrial setting or in the domestic setting, you just know, okay, this is this type of fire caused by this. Because the class is just about what brings the fire, the kind of fuel that sustains the fire. Okay, Mr. Tao, there's another question here. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay, Mr. Biola, please hang on a little. Mr. Biola, please hang on a little. I'll come back to you, okay? Okay? Okay. Okay, there's a question here. There's a question, okay. Asian, thank you. Thank you for responding. There's a question here from Patricia Samuel. Fire extinguishers have expiry date. Would it be advisable to expel the contents of an expired fire extinguisher? Okay, sorry. Would it be advisable to expel the contents of an expired extinguisher into the environment by oneself or the person or is professional assistance needed? Sitawo, did you get that question?
Yeah, I did. Okay. This is where I'll come in first. As I've said, you don't want to keep preaching. You need to, because if you keep preaching how to fight fire, what we'll just be doing is, yes, let it occur, we want to fight it. Our primary aim is to make sure fire does not occur. Okay. Now, this is it. Extinguisher expires. Yes, they expires. That is why you need to monitor your extinguishers to not expire. And if the extinguisher that has expired is not advisable to use any longer, because it might not serve the purpose of why you are using it for. And two, if it has expired, it's dangerous to health. You as a person, you can how am I going to say, you can get a life or a health related illness from it while trying to use it. So at this level, what I can preach here, and I will try to, and I will say again that let's try and prevent fire from happening. That is one. And two, part of your prevention plan, as I've said, you want to make sure your fire extinguisher is intact. It has not expired. So I think the standard says you must service your extinguisher 6 months. If I'm very correct, 6 months intervals to make sure you check the content, to make sure they are in good shape. Okay, so that's I think that's the best thing I can advise.
Okay. Mr. Taiwo, Mr. Ubon, please let me add to what Mr. Taiwo has said there.
Okay.
As a professional, if you're in a workplace and you have extinguishers, let's assume you have 15 extinguishers in your workplace. I'll advise you split it into 2. Allow the expiry date interval to be maybe 10 days. When you fill this set, or let's say 5 days, when you fill this set, the next set should be the next 5 days. Or if you have so much extinguishers, when you fill 20, the next set should be within a month. Then when it's approaching 2 days or 3 days to the expiration of that extinguisher, rather than giving it out for to be expelled, I will advise you can't use the extinguisher that is about expiring to run a mock drill. I think it will be more, should I say, it will be economically feasible to the growth of the company, and it will also encourage people on the job to learn how to carry out an emergency response rather than you just expelling the extinguisher out. Thank you very much.
It's okay, thank you. Still on that question, someone wants to respond to that. Mr. Biola. Mr. Biola, over to you. You're on.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, afternoon.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we are hearing you. Go on.
It's not actually a response to the question. I'm actually trying to tell him to go to the latter part of the question that someone asked in the group, that should we as individual expel out the expired one, or we should call on professional?
Okay, okay. You wanted to emphasize that aspect of the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. That's I think that has been taken care of. When we talk about but there's no need for you to expel a content that you cannot refill. And also I said that the content is hazardous to health. So that simply means that you should just take it to the professional for them to do their job. Since you are not knowledgeable in that aspect, there's no need to expel it. One is hazardous to your health, especially when we talk about like DCP, dry chemical powder. People that are asthmatic, it can trigger asthmatic attack and it's hazardous to health. So no need for it to expel a content you cannot refill if you actually need to refill it. Okay. So I think that's
Okay,
that you don't actually need
okay, I think I really understand what it's trying to say. Yes, you know, I should have asked, are you the one that first refill it yourself? Or okay, you don't need, no. There are processes the way it came. Once you find out that it has expired, call a professional to help you about it. Okay. You don't need to go, okay, because you said you want to empty it, I carry the empty can. No, don't worry. You don't need to do that. Calling a professional to do it for you because there are procedures to that. All right. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question here also, Mr. Taiwo, from Akere. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name very well. The question is it actually advisable to refill fire extinguishers? Mr. Taiwo, do you get the question?
Yes. To refill fire extinguishers, right?
Yes. Is it advisable?
Yes.
That's the question.
Let us not lie to ourselves. What I want to go and service is still the same content. Okay? It's called refilling. They will have to discharge the first one and they are refilling it. So this is what we, as soon as you've used the content, that's why it's called servicing. Okay, that's just a big grammar. They'll say, I want to go and service my extinguisher. What are they trying to do? The first and foremost they'll first do is to discharge it to find out if the content is still okay. And if not, they discharge everything. They now do what we call refilling and put in new thing. The only thing they cannot refill is that when the content, like the body itself, the container is not in good condition, they will advise you to get a new one. I hope that answered the question.
I think yes, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm still okay. Someone has said here, Mr. Abdulhamid has said something here. It says extinguishers are high pressure cylinders which can harm and even kill you if you handle or try to open them unskilled. So that's still adding to you not trying to open it if you are unskilled. It's just like refilling our gas. And that's instead of buying a new cylinder. That's it. Okay, there's another thing here from Sil Patricia. We have cases of vendors altering expiring dates and reselling the expired extinguisher. What do you suggest could be done to avoid that? Cases with our vendors alter expiry dates.
Okay, on that level, where everybody in this country wants to make money. To be sincere, you are very much correct. You are very, when you go in and say my extinguishers is this and they want to refill it, they will ask you to come the next 2 days, 3 days to come pick it up. Let us lie to ourselves. There is possibility they didn't do anything to it. You still carry the same content back. So it's simple. This is what we just need to do. I think we'll get there. We need a regulation. The likes of, let me not mention names, yeah, but I know we have safety commission in Lagos. Okay, we have safety commission, so we need these people to make sure they can be on the safe side or on the monitoring side to us. So that's just it. That's what I can say. We need bodies to come up and say, majorly, let's say safety commission people, to be on the lookout that why will you be reselling? But I can bet you this cannot happen in should I use developed country? Okay, I would have answered the question.
Okay, there's a question here from Sil Patricia, but I want to join it with something. I want you to throw more light on when we talk about fire extinguisher expiring. Okay, because some people tend to look at the inspection expiry date as the actual expiry date of fire extinguisher. I would maybe say Taiwo. Let me say Taiwo.
I think it's network. Come
Okay,
up now.
he's back
Hello,
on.
hello. Can you hear me?
Mr. Taiwo, are you on?
Yeah, come up. Sir
Yes,
Taiwo.
I'm on. I'm on.
Okay, there's a question here about still refilling. The question is what the person is saying now. So we refill new content in the extinguisher. Do they change the expiring date on the cylinder as well? Because that's why I said throw lights on fire extinguisher expiry date. Because some people
The
mistake
network was
the
poor. I didn't hear
inspection
that very
expiry
well.
date for the fire extinguisher expiry date. Are you with me? Sorry.
I actually didn't get that clearly. Your network was breaking.
Okay, sorry. This is it. Taiwo is on my own. Is it Taiwo?
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you.
Mr. Taiwo?
Yes.
Okay, someone said here, so we refill new contents in the extinguishers. Do they change the expiry date on the cylinder as well?
Yes, yes. That is why as soon as you've gone to
please hold on before you answer the question. I also want you to join to throw more light on fire extinguisher expiry date.
Okay, all right. Now, let me start by saying this. As soon as you've gone for servicing, a new date needs to be put on that extinguisher. The date you refill and the next day is going to expire. That one is clear. Two, I hope I've not forgotten the second one, Sha.
I said you should throw more light on fire extinguisher expiry date because some people actually mistake the inspection expiry date to the fire extinguisher expiry date that is inscripted on the cylinder.
Okay. You once in a cylinder. It's a cylinder. The extinguishers, it has a date. It's far different from inspection date. Inspection date is when you come check the handle, you check the pin, you check the gauge. Okay, I don't think I'm communicating. You check the handle if it's in good condition. You check the gauge. Sometimes you can lift up the extinguishers and shake it if the content is still there or it has evaporated. Okay, you check the handle if they are still good. That's the inspection. You are inspecting the cylinder. You check the cylinders if they are not leaking. Now, the expiring date is the date of manufacturing will be there. The date is expected to expire. And the standard says every extinguisher, either new or old, 6 months elapsed. 6 months is the next expiring date. That is to say, on or before 6 months or after 6 months, you should have refilled or serviced your extinguisher. I don't know if that is clear. As soon as you are refilling or service your extinguisher, the date you service, let's assume you serve it today. Today's date will be created on the cylinder or from the vendor. The vendor will put the date you did it, and it's going to give you dates that is meant that in 6 months' time is meant to be expired. I hope that is clear.
Date that's the inspection expiry date, not actually the first expiry date, right?
Inspection date is different from content expiring date, as I've said. Like one of the rules of a fire marshal, a fire warden is one of these days. Inspection date is determined by the company procedure. Let's say the company says you want to be checking out our appliances every 2 weeks. So that shows that if I'm going to inspect my cylinder this week, I must put to this week there. So the next date for inspecting will be put in, which is in 2 weeks' time. I don't know if that's clear.
That's clear.
Then expired date says this is the date it's being put in. That's the day I buy it. Today, I bought it today now. The content, what am I trying to say? Expire. The content in the cylinder will expire in 6 months' time. That is the standard.
Okay.
So company might say, okay, our inspection date, we want to be having it 3 days. So if I inspect the cylinder today, so it's expected of me to put the next 2 days to it that I must inspect the cylinder. It's far different from the expiring date. Some company might also says, I want to be inspecting my cylinders every 6 months. According to, it depends on, that's why I say it is one of the rules on the fire marshal to communicate the procedure to your staff and everybody that this is how we operate in our company. How company A is far operates is far different from company B. I don't know if that's clear.
Okay, but what about some organizations? You keep installing a fire extinguisher and it stays there for years, and they just believe that if they agitate the extinguisher, like in the case of DCP, that it should be working just well. That means a wrong practice.
You know, there are some people they would like, we don't have money, we want to waste. This has always been the statement. For the past 2 years, we've not used these extinguishers. We don't have fire. So why are we servicing it? But we have forgotten that it is a content that, and it's should I use the word, the chemical content, which has it must expire. Why these things? Okay, let me come in here. When we get an extinguisher and we put it in a place, we've forgotten that there's going to be environmental factors where we have them put in. A lot of the cylinders, the day is being constructed is also how am I going to say? Is also aging. The way we are aging, the way human beings are aging, also these things are also aging. So that's why they have expiring date. So the expiring date is trying to tell us that in so date or in so time, this thing should have been is not more in content or is not in his right position any longer. I would like let's say this: the way you were in 10 years was not say the same way you are now. The strength you use in 10 years old is not the same strength you are using now. It's not also the same strength you use while you are between 40, 50, 100. The same thing. This content also have their, should I use the word? I'm looking for the English to use it so we can get on the basic understanding. They also have their times
like lifespan.
Yes, thank you. Like their lifespan.
Okay.
Hope that is clear.
Yes, that's very clear. Mr. Taiwo, thank you very much. You've really done justice to the training. We all really appreciate you. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. And at this moment, I will hand over to Mr. David to round up so that we can end. The meeting should end in the next 5 minutes. So, Mr. David, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Obong, and also Mr. Taiwo. The training has been very elaborate. At least we've been able to learn a lot today in the class. The safety moment has been able to let us know that Nigeria is ranked 17 with a death rate of 6.83 at every 100,000 persons that die. And Ivory Coast is still ranked first alongside Sierra Leone and the rest. And for every incident that occurs in the country, that means close to 1,000 persons die resulting from fire. The training was also able to cover the introductory aspects to let us know what fire is all about. It discussed briefly on the fire triangle. It made us understand that for fire to occur, 3 factors must be present, which is oxygen, heat, and fuel. It allowed us to understand the causes of an effect of fire, which includes ignorance, nature arson, faulty equipment, hot work, etc. The people the things that it affects at the end of the day are people, properties, environment, reputation, and other factors. The classification of fire, where there was a question that brought a conception that which is the standard classification of fire, and it was stated that different countries or different parts of the world has different classification of fire according to their code of practice and their region. It also talked about the role of a fire marshal, which is to take roll call for individuals during fire incidents, liaise with a fire and rescue service team, promote fire safety within the company, and more. He talked of the fire prevention plan. How do you, what it is made up of? I mean, how do you go about it? He went further to discuss fire safety risk assessments. What should be put in place for a fire safety risk assessment to be carried out? Fire emergency response, the types of extinguishers, its use and functionality. The training also emphasized a lot and many more, which I believe would have drawn our attention to the reason for having a basic knowledge for fire safety. I'll advise every one of us to, and okay, towards the end, there was a rule that says in case the extinguisher malfunction or something is expected, or something expected happens, you need to be able to get out quickly. There was also a details Mr. Taiwo emphasized about fire extinguishers are mainly used for small fires and not fires that are large. You don't fight fire in an enclosed place with only one exit and entry to try and get out from such positions. So this and many more has been able to draw our mindset towards continuous learning, as HSE Watch's agenda is to encourage continuous learning of health and safety through safety journalism, interactive discussions, and many more. I hope today's lecture has training has been able to make us see another perspective of what fire safety is all about. Thank you very much. Mr. Obong, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. David, for that roundup you just did. So we'll be having more of such training. So just keep watching the space. HSE Watch is here to save you. We are going to be running more of such. So if you don't know much of HSE Watch, you can check this HSE Watch platform. hsewatch.com is online. It's like your health and safety encyclopedia. You can get information that you need, any kind of information. If there's something you need that is not there, you can send mail to the HSE Watch official mail address, and that will be taken care of. You can also join us follow us on Facebook, HSE Watch on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter and all your social handles. We also have a YouTube handle we are building. So watch out for more of this training. Once again, I appreciate everyone, and especially I appreciate Mr. Taiwo for finding out time to put up this amazing training for us, and also Mr. David for helping us. And everyone, I say thank you. Till we meet in our next meeting. Thank you very much.